You know, guys, not exactly the episode I thought I'd sit down today and record. Dude, my face is so red still, guys. Oh my lord. I was laughing so hard at this episode of Mushoku Tensei. Oh my lord, dude. And I really shouldn't be. You know, looking back on it, I really should not have been laughing at this. Because it's funny, but it's really not that funny when you really sit and think about it. It's kind of messed up that I laughed so hard, but god damn it, did this give me a good laugh. But, okay, enough of that. Jokes aside, Soldat is such a bro, man. Like, what a legitimately, great guy in this episode for Rudeus. Actually the perfect person that he needs right now to really get him out of this funk. It was great. Another great episode of Mushoku Tensei. We'll talk about that censoring, by the way. Pretty egregious. But let's get into it and talk about Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 3 today. So our episode today begins with us seeing Rudeus and Counter Arrow in the pub, just on cloud 9 right now, guys. They're having a good time. They've had successful missions one after another, as we hear Rudeus say, "Since that night, I've been working with Counter Arrow almost constantly. My reputation's grown. Even local villagers have been talking about Quagmire Rudeus. And one other thing has changed. Sarah and I have gotten much closer." We see that she's so bright and vibrant around him now, the complete opposite of what she was before. But we see she gets a little sour as Rudy mentions Roxy right here. Women don't like when you talk about other women, guys. Just heads up. Just a little heads up. Little life advice from Gary. And it's here as she changes the subject away from Roxy. She tells Rudeus that, I use my knife to repair all my other items, but lately it's been kinda getting worn down and I'm thinking of getting a new one. As she says, "Oh, Rudeus, you wanna come look for one with me?" As our boy tells her that, yeah, I don't see why not, sure. And everyone just gives her a look, like, you go girl, we know what you're doing there. We know what you're doing. As it takes a second for our boy Rudy to realize, wait, I just kind of agreed to a date, didn't I? And it's here as we transition to our next scene. We see them going on this date. And it's a really nice scene, honestly. We get the great opening song playing in the background as they're just going throughout the town, just enjoying each other's company, getting these new weapons, and just having an overall good time. Like I said, Sarah's gotten much more friendly with Rudy. Because as we transition to the bar after the date, she tells him, man, that was really fun today. Seeing all that stuff made me want to get a new breastplate. As he asks her, oh, is something wrong with your current one? She tells him, well, I bought it a while ago, so it's kind of gotten a little tight recently. Our boy Rudy's just like, it's gotten tight, you say? Interesting. As she literally calls him out for it too, which I kind of love. But it's here as our scene progresses. Things get a little interesting. As she tells him, oh man, I'm feeling kind of tipsy right now actually. I seem to drink way too much when I'm with you. As she tells him, I don't know, maybe I just feel safe when you're next to me. And it's in this moment, our boy starts panicking like, holy shit, is this what I think it is? Do I have a shot, as they say? And as she gives him the eyes right here, I'm gonna say yes, he does. As Rudy's just like, man, I've been thinking it's high time I put the past behind me and moved on. As our boy ends up down in his drink and says, why don't we call it a night instead tonight? It's getting kind of late. Trying to be a gentleman and not rush things a bit. But Sarah, man, she tells him, actually, I think I want to talk a bit longer. As she tells him, maybe we could do that in your room? As our boy Rudy starts going through it right here. As he says, yeah, let's go. Why not? Let's do it. And I'm no expert, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty good night. And as we make it back to their room, let's just say they don't really waste much time. Sarah's pretty damn direct. As she ends up telling Rudeus, I'm pretty grateful to you. I would have died if you hadn't come looking for me that time. So, you can just go ahead, okay? And it's here. We get straight into it, guys. We are not wasting time. We are just diving headfirst into the punani. But it's in this moment, our boy Rudy starts realizing that, wait a minute, something's not right here. As he says, there's nothing wrong with Sarah. Her body's amazing. The problem is with me. My body's sending me warning signals, or rather, it wasn't sending me anything at all. It was still and silent. And as we transition to a bit later, I would imagine after the attempted deed, things aren't looking good. Rudeus is not looking like it was a good time. As Sarah tells him, I'm not really into you or anything. I just wanted to thank you, to pay my debt. So don't get the wrong idea. I'm doing this out of obligation. As she ends up leaving like that. And our boy Rudeus is just down in the dumps, man. I can't blame him at all in this instance. And okay, guys, I laughed really hard when I watched this scene. But complete jokes aside, actual serious moment here. This makes a lot of sense. This is funny, don't get that twisted, but it's not funny when you really think about the implications, because this makes a lot of sense. Rudeus is heartbroken, man. He has not recovered really that much. Like, here's the thing. The past couple episodes, you could say his heart was broken at the beginning of them. And the last couple episodes, people have kind of pushed the pieces together. And they're kind of holding them in place with their hands. But nothing is sticking. And any little thing could make another piece start falling again. That's where he is right now. He's not better. And damn, what a fucking blow to your confidence here. This ain't gonna make it better. Oh, man. This is wild. And it's here, guys, as we transition to our next scene. And we see Rudeus at the bar just pounding drinks back. This man is really going through it right now. And it's here, we see Soldat actually find him right here. And he immediately just starts picking a fight with Rudeus. He really does, saying, what are you moping about? You have a shitty day? I bet you did. When the going gets rough, you run. And grin like an idiot until someone comforts you. And it's in this moment, Rudeus just socks him right here in the bar. As he tells him, what are you mad about? You're always picking fights with me. Isn't this what you wanted? As he just starts beating into him, saying, what's wrong with grinning like an idiot? Do you want me to go around insulting people and bragging like you do? It makes people resentful and jealous and disgusted, and it drives them away. That line hits hard. But if I could keep acting cocky anyway, I'd do it too. I don't want people to hate me. I keep smiling so they won't. What about that pisses you off? And as he calms down a bit, he tells him, bring it on. Hit me. Laugh at me when I'm down for the count. I know I can't take you in a fight. As one of Soul's party members comes up and tells him, hey, cut the kid a little slack, man. As he says, yeah, sorry, that's my bad. As he tells him, maybe no one does have it worse than you. As Rudy tells him, what would you know about that? And he tells him, I mean, hey, drink up, man, come on. Tell me about it. Spill your guts. It might help figure something out. And as we transition to our next scene, we just hear, so, your girl dumped you because you can't get it up, huh? Great way to start a conversation, by the way, guys. Just saying. As Rudeus tells him, what, you making fun of me now? As he tells him, look, I'm not trying to here. And adds, but when you're down in the dumps, you gotta be clear about why. As he tells Rudeus, don't be so formal. You sounded a lot looser earlier. Don't hide behind fancy words. Tell it to me straight. As Rudy just tells him that, I was feeling down because of something that happened before. There was this girl I liked. A lot happened and we kind of did it. It was the first time for both of us. But when I woke up, she was already long gone. As he says, so, she ditched you, huh? And as Rudy starts crying, he just says, why? Why did Eris leave me? As Soul tells him, in my experience, kid, you might have screwed up right beforehand. I would know a thing or two about that. As Rudy's like, damn, am I really that bad in bed? As Soul tells him, things are rough for you right now. Let's fix you up. As he tells him, you leave this to a pro, kid. I know the place to take you. Now Soldat, being a bro, takes this man to the pleasure quarters with all the prostitutes. To really fix this problem, guys. And as we get into this place, I don't know if Rudy's ready for a place like this, guys. Just saying. Because it's here as he gets brought to a room, he meets Alisa, the person that will be helping him tonight. And as he introduces himself to her, we see that she instantly recognizes his name. She says, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Rudeus. As she tells him, your reputation precedes you, Rudy. As he says, yeah, I guess another adventurer must have mentioned me, huh? And she tells him, no. Actually, you once cast a healing spell on my sister, free of charge. She tells me it happened last winter while you were clearing snow. As we see, it was the girl that he healed at the beginning of last week's episode. As she says, man, having such a wonderful gentleman in my bed is sure to make the other working girls jealous. But then she adds, the night is young, so why don't you enjoy me while you're here? But pleasantries aside, guys, we came here because we got some work to do. We didn't come here to play. Or I guess we did. As they get to it. And as we transition to our boy Soldat just bragging to all the working girls down there, we see Rudeus approach them as he says, how'd it go? As Rudy says, I got her to try all sorts of things, but none of them worked. Fuck, that sucks. And as they sit down at the table, we see Soul ask Elise, alright, what do you think his problem is? As she tells them, it seemed to me that Rudeus was just frightened of women. Perhaps if he knows a woman he wouldn't fear, this wouldn't be a problem. Someone whom he feels certain would never turn on him. As we see, he instantly thinks of Roxy here, but that's not going to work right now. As Elise says, I fear that these kind of relationships just can't be rushed. They have to be nurtured little by little. As Soul says, well, it is what it is. We can't deal with it tonight. Then you drink up instead. And it's here as we transition to the next day. They are shit-faced, bro. They fell asleep at the bar together. And it's here as they're leaving the bar together. Soul tells him, hey, Quagmire, when I'm in a labyrinth, I try not to rush things. The deeper you go, the tougher the monsters you encounter. Different monsters even team up sometimes. When that happens, rushing in blind just gets more people hurt. So, you stay on the floor above and you slowly get used to it. As he asks him, does that make sense to you? But we see that Rudeus is not listening at all, and he's giving him good advice here, and he's just not listening. As he makes it even simpler for Rudy, saying, that girl Sarah? Maybe you just went a little too quick with her. As Rudy says, I'm quick, yeah, but we didn't even get that far. As Soul tells him, no, what I mean is, she was ready to go. But maybe you needed more time to get yourself prepped, emotionally. As Rudy tells him, you say that, but she told me it was just obligation. As Soul tells him, nah, man. From what I could see, she looked like she was plenty into you. And it's here he tells him, look, you got time. Why don't you go see her again and talk it out? As Rudy says, all right, I'll go see her this evening or tomorrow. But he's still clearly not really listening. And it's here, Rudeus just starts running his mouth, man. And not in a good way. He's just being a total fucking douchebag about Sarah. Just saying some really out-of-pocket shit. As Soul's trying to stop him right here, but he just keeps running his mouth more and more, man. Really being rude as fuck. And it's here we notice that Sarah was behind him, and she heard everything that he just said. She's really hurt. Then she walks up and smacks the shit out of Rudy right here. And frankly, he deserved it, man. He was saying some out-of-pocket shit. As she tells him, "You're the worst. Never let me see you again." As even Susanna tells him, that was way out of line. And as Rudy notices that she dropped the knife that they got together, he falls into despair again. This time, he really dug his own hole. As he tries to stab himself with the knife, and Soul hits it away, saying, "Hold your horses, dumbass. Go after her and explain yourself." But Rudy just doesn't care anymore. He's just completely given up. And it's here Soldat does something really kind right here, honestly. As he asks Rudeus, "You want to come with us?" As he tells him, "A huge labyrinth turned up over in the Duchy of Neris. We're thinking of heading out sometime today. You care to tag along?" As Rudy asks him, "Why would you even offer? I thought you hated me." As Soul just tells him bluntly, "Yeah, I couldn't stand your creepy smile or your goody-goody manners. But now I know what's at the heart of you. I can accept why you act that way. So I've got no more reason to hate you." As Rudy starts realizing here that he's had Soul wrong this whole time, that he let their first encounter really sour his opinion of him before even getting to know him. How he actually seems to be a really genuinely nice guy, honestly. As Rudy tells him, "I'll go with you." And that's great, man. This is what Rudy really needs, guys. This right here. It's one thing to be around a bunch of girls, but I'm telling you now, as a guy, when your heart is broken, being around more girls typically does not fix it. I know from experience. Being around guys really does fix that. Like, you get a kinship in a way. You need someone who you can relate to be there for you and tell you like it is, man. This is what Rudy needs, and this is great. I love that Soul doesn't laugh at him. He doesn't laugh at him in this episode. He listens to him, and he genuinely tries to help him. I really love that, actually. That is... Even I had Soul pegged the wrong way. He's great, man, and he's what Rudeus needs. But it's here as we transition to the final scene of our episode, as we see a couple adventurers talking about Rudeus and his exploits. We see someone's interest is piqued, as they say. "You want to tell me more about that? The one about that adventurer, Quagmire Rudeus?" And if I remember correctly, guys, isn't this one of Roxy's party members from Season 1? I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it's her with how she acts in this. And when they tell her that he's in Basharant second city, Pippin. As she says, "I finally found this guy, huh?" And with that, our episode ends. And again, guys, not exactly the episode of Mushoku Tensei I thought we'd get today. But each week, this show really does surprise me. I did not think we'd have an episode about Rudeus not getting it up. But it'd still be such a good episode and explore his character so much. And it looks like Roxy might be making an appearance again, which I am quite happy about, because I like Roxy quite a bit. So I'm really looking forward to next week, too. So you guys let me know your thoughts on this pretty wild episode down below in the comments. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.